Today I'm going to teach you how to express or convert larger units of measurement into smaller units within the same measurement system. So let's read the I can statement together. I can convert among different sized measurement units in the metric and customary systems. So convert means to change. And I'm just going to write that on here in parentheses. Convert means to change. You're going to make a change between the different measurement systems. And so here you see that I'm presenting to you a table or chart with two different systems. And the first system is the customary measurement system, and the second system is the metric measurement system. And in the United States, we use both of these systems, so it's important for you as a fourth grader to know which one we want to use. Now keep in mind that the rest of the world uses the metric system, but you guys also need to learn the customary system. Now, the different ways we measure are by measuring length, mass, liquid volume, and time. And I just wanted to show you this to help you remember where some of our vocabulary is going to come from today. So let's go ahead and get started. Our focus today is going to be on length and distance. And this is the first problem that we're going to solve. The problem says a large bench is 7.5 feet long. It is 17 inches longer than the shorter bench. How many inches long is the shorter bench? All right, so it says that a large bench is 7.5 feet long. It is 17 inches longer than the shorter bench. How many inches long is the shorter bench? So one of the main things I have to do as a mathematician is I have to, number one, make sense of the problem and take a look to see if there's anything that I'm noticing. Now, I do know that I have a bench. I have a bench, and it's a long bench. And it's it's a large bench. And this bench is 7.5 feet. And feet can be abbreviated as FT. Okay? So I wrote that down here, and I wrote it so that it can help me keep track of my thinking. And I know that this is the large bench. Okay? I also see that we have this number. We have this number, 17 inches. Okay? And it tells that this large 7.5 foot bench is 17 inches longer than the shorter bench. So we basically have to figure out how many inches long is that shorter bench. How many inches long is that shorter bench? Okay. There's something else that I'm noticing. We have a clue on the page. Okay. I see that this clue says that 1 foot equals 12 inches. And that's important. I want to make sure that I remember that clue later on as I'm completing this task. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm converting or expressing units into, when I'm expressing larger units into smaller units, is I like to make a 2-column chart or table. And you all are familiar with this because we use them a lot in reading. And I bet you some of you have already said, oh, I know what that is. This 2-column chart is also referred to as a, that didn't come out quite right. It's also referred to as a T-chart. So I'm going to make my T-chart right here. And I made this T-chart so that I have a place to put my information. So I'm going to label this chart because whenever we draw any charts, we always make sure we label. I'm going to label the left side with feet and the right side, I'm labeling this side inches. Okay. Now I want to share my thinking with you. I'm going to draw a line here. I'm going to draw a line right here and I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to explain to you why when I come back to, I'm going to come back to this a little bit later and explain to you why I left it. But I already know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. And that's interesting because I have a bench that is 7.5 feet long. Now, if I had, let me just draw me another line right here. If I had 2 feet, I would take my 12 and add another 12. And I know that 12 plus 12 equals 24. Now, if you're not sure about this, and these numbers aren't easy in your head, please do your work off to the side. So I had 12, I added another 12, and that gave me a sum of 24 inches. Okay? I want you to do your work off to the side because I don't want any of you trying to make any guesses. All right? And that'll help you keep track of your math thinking. Now let's see. Let's go back to our chart. I'm going to draw another line here and another line here. All right. What if I have 3 feet? What if I have 3 feet? Well, I know I would have 12 plus 12, but I would need to add another 12, and that would give me 36. So I know 3 feet equals 36 inches. What if I had 4 feet? Well, I would just come over here to the side and add another 12. And now I have a sum of 48 inches. I'm noticing a pattern here. Every time I add 1 foot, I'm also adding 12 inches. So every time I add 1 foot, I add 12 inches. So I could write down the formula. So I'm just going to add a page over here. I'm going to add a page. I'm going to go ahead and draw another T-chart on my second sheet of paper so that I can continue this work. I'm going to label it just like I did the one on the other slide. Again, I'm going to draw this line and leave the space here. And then I'm going to draw some lines on down here so that you can see this. Probably not going to need this many lines, but I'm drawing them nonetheless so that you can see it. I left that space blank, and I know that I said I started off with 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, not 5. I'm going to stop right there. And I know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. 2 feet equals 24 inches. 3 feet equals 36 inches. And 4 feet equals 48 inches. And I stopped there. And I said, I noticed the pattern that every time I added 1 foot, I also added 12 inches, right? I added 12. So 1 foot equals 12 inches. 2 feet would be 12 plus 12. 3 feet was 12 plus 12 plus 12. 4 feet was 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. And I noticed this pattern. Now I'm thinking that there's a formula that I can use. And I'm going to represent, every time I have a foot, I'm going to represent it as N. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to represent a foot as N. And to get my inches, I'm going to take that N and I'm going to multiply it by 12. Because multiplication is repeated addition. Okay? Now let me take a look at what I mean by that, because this is something new. Okay? If I had 1 and I multiply it by 12, it equals 12. 2 times 12 equals 24. 3 times 12 equals 36. 4 times 12 equals, that's right, 48. You're right. Now, I could continue doing this with this formula, but if 12s aren't easy for you, to do in your head, you can go ahead and continue to work on the side, okay? So let's say we have 5 feet. Let's say we have 5 feet. I know that's 1 12, 2 12s, 3 12s, right? Because 3 12s equals 36 feet, 4 12s, 5 12s. Now if I add these all together, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, regroup that. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that 5 feet equals 60 inches. And continuing on, if I had 6 feet, it would equal 72 inches. And 7 feet equals 84 inches. Okay, let's go back now. Let's go back to this slide. And I am going to erase this right here, this part down here at the bottom. I'm just going to redraw my line real quick for you guys. I'm sorry. Redraw my line, draw my line here. And we're just going to say, for the sake of an argument, that we continued this chart, and down here we know that 7 feet equals 84 inches. But remember, I told you that we were going to come back up here to this space. we know that 7 feet equals 84 inches, but what about this half from the problem? What about this half right here? Well, it is 1/2 of a foot, and it equals 6 inches. Because I'm taking the whole foot and I'm cutting it in half. So the reason I did it this way is because I have feet and I have inches. And whenever we are solving a problem, I'm going to have the same measurement. Okay? So in this case, my 7.5 feet is equal to how many inches? My 7, I don't know if I want to use that color now. Let's go with green. My 7 1/2 feet is equal to how many, and I'm just going to erase this work off the side so we have space, is equal to how many inches? It's equal to how many inches? Well, I know that 7 feet equals 84 inches. And I know that half of a foot is 6 inches. So if I add these two together, and remember when we add, remember to use our place value. So I'm going to add the ones place first. 6 plus 4 is 10. I'm going to regroup the 10. 8 plus 1 is 9. So I will get a sum of 90 inches. And I can put that right up here. 7, oh, no, I can't. I'm sorry, not yet. Is 90 inches. Oh, yes, I can. I'm sorry. It is. It's 90 inches because I added that half of a foot. All right. But when I go back to the problem asks, how many inches long is the shorter bench? Now, we've already taken care of the large bench, so I'm going to go back to see if there's more information that I'm missing, because I do have a circled number here. That seems important. So we have a large bench. This large bench is 7.5 feet long. It is 17 inches longer than the shorter bench. So thinking about that, if I know that my large bench is 90 inches and it is I'm going to put it over here. I know that my long bench is 90 inches. And it is 17 inches longer than the shorter bench. I have to make a decision. I've got to decide what I'm going to do with these two numbers. Well, if I add these two numbers, it would make the second bench, even longer. And I know that wouldn't make sense to add them together because this problem says it's 17 inches longer already. So I'm going to need to subtract the 17 inches. Now remember, when we solve math problems, we have to use a lot of our prior knowledge that we've learned in 4th grade. And now I have to subtract. I know that when I have this kind of number, in the tens place, or in the ones place, a 0, I can't take away 7 from 0 because there's nothing there. So I'm going to have to regroup. Okay, So when I regroup, I'm going to borrow 10 from the 90, and I'm going to add it over here in the ones place. So now I have 10 in the ones place. So 10 take away 7 equals 3. And 8 take away 1 equals 7. 73. Now remember, all of this information is in inches. So I have 73 inches. But I'm not finished. I need to go back and answer the question. The question asks, how many inches long is the shorter bench? And whenever I answer a question, I have to write my answer in a complete sentence. The shorter bench is 73 inches long. Now, one of the things I really want to point out to you is that we were using feet and inches. And if we go back and look at our table or our chart, we know that feet and inches are a part of the customary system of measurement. I hope that this mini lesson will help you as you work on your independent learning task today. And I hope that if you have any questions at all, that you will reach out to me. Don't forget that we have a Zoom scheduled for tomorrow morning. And if you have questions, please make sure that you join our Zoom because I will be providing an additional mini lesson on conversions using different size measurement units. Okay, guys, I hope this helps you.